Hello and welcome to another 10 minutes of learning from the Data SkyLab studio with Sasha. We will be continuing the presentation in a few seconds. Hiya folks and welcome to Friday's 10 minutes learning with me, Sasha from the Data SkyLab studio, and this week we will be covering Microsoft Purview solutions in its entirety. Microsoft Purview is not a single tool, it's a suite of solutions covering areas such as risk management, data governance and data security. Because of all of these capabilities sit under the umbrella of Microsoft Purview name, it can be difficult to understand what each solution does, where it fits, and how the different parts work together. So together, step by step, I will take you through each one of these areas in under around 10 minutes. Just getting my ducks in a row. Give me a sec. Okay, so are you confused about Microsoft Purview? Well, you're not alone. Like I said, Microsoft Purview is not a single tool, it's a comprehensive set of solutions that bring together risk, compliance, data governance and data security capabilities through Microsoft Purview's portal. What's shown on the screen is a representation of what you see when you log into Microsoft Purview and you go to the All Solutions tab within the application itself. There is a distinct importance because these show in certain groups. So you have core, risk and compliance, data governance and security is indicated in the screen. These help it to understand the different sections or different groupings within the product, and then we're going to walk through each one of these individual solutions underneath these particular subject areas or topics one by one so you can understand them better. So we're going to start off with the core at the top and the left hand side, and we've highlighted Audit. Audit provides an evidence trail by allowing authorized users to search recorded activities and identify who performed the action, when it happened and what resource was involved. This information is valuable for compliance reviews, security investigations and eDiscovery, which we'll discuss shortly. Moving on to the next one, which is Compliance Alert. Notify you when you have configuration policies or conditions that are triggered, helping your organisation move from a passive reporting to active monitoring. The data map is central to data governance. It scans supported data sources, captures technical metadata such as tables, columns, classifications and lineage. The unified catalogue below builds on this foundation by building or adding business context, helping people to discover, understand, govern data. Simply put, the data map provides the technical foundation, unified catalogue provides the business governance experience. Settings provides a central place to configure Microsoft Purview and manage roles and permissions. Workflows help to automate approvals such as requests for data products, publishing data products, or glossary terms and notifying users of outcomes. Next, we have risk and compliance. Under this heading, we have communication compliance, which helps identify potential inappropriate or risky communications across Microsoft Teams, Exchange Online, and Microsoft 365 Copilot. It can also cover third-party communications imported through configuration connectors or configured connectors. This might include harassment, threats, offensive language, sharing sensitive information, or communications that could breach regulations or organisational policies. Potentially, issues are flagged for human review. Wrongdoing is not automatically assumed. Next, we have the Compliance Manager, helps organisations assess their compliance posture using assessments, controls and recommended improvement actions. This does not automatically make an organisation compliant. Instead, it helps identify the gaps, assign actions and tracks progress against regulatory requirements and industry standards. Then we have eDiscovery. This helps legal, governance and investigation teams find, preserve, review and export electronic information from Exchange, SharePoint, OneDrive and Teams. This can support legal investigation, freedom of information requests and subject access requests. However, it does not manage these processes. People still determine the scope, apply exemptions and decide on what can be disclosed. Information barriers restrict communication and file sharing between defined groups across Teams, SharePoint and OneDrive. They can create an ethical wall between trading and advisory teams or help separate the in between blinded and unblinded clinical trials teams. Records management provides stronger controls for information with formal, legal, regulatory and business record keeping requirements. This is different to lower down, which is known as the data lifecycle management, which we'll come to. That broadly retains and deletes Microsoft 365 content according to defined rules. Records management can declare information as an official record, restricting changes, deletions and required and authorized disposal review. For example, routine emails may have a retention for a defined period where a signed contract or board minutes are protected as a formal record. Now we're moving on to data governance. Unified Catalog is the business-facing governance experience. It combines technical metadata from the data map with business context, including ownership, stewardship, governance domains, data products, glossary terms, and critical data elements, and then moving on to data quality. It helps data consumers understand what data means, who's responsible for it, whether it can be trusted, and how it can be used. Moving on to data lifecycle management. Moves routine retention and data decisions away from individuals into a central managed policy. Content can be retained for a required period and automatically deleted at that period's end. This reduces the risk of data, particularly PI data, from being kept longer than permitted because someone forgot to delete it or chose to keep it. Finally, data policy lets organisations manage data access centrally. It is useful when somebody needs a specific permission without being given wider access. For example, an engineer could monitor an SQL database, an Azure SQL database, without receiving full access to the information stored in it. Purview only manages supported permissions. The source platform manages everything else. And now we come to data security. Information protection and sensitivity labels classify and protect sensitive content. Data loss prevention that can then monitor and control how the information is used or shared. For example, somebody may need access for their job, but doesn't mean that they should email the information externally, copy it to a USB drive, or upload it to an unapproved service. Endpoint DLP extends these controls further to support devices. Devices must be onboarded onto Purview and device monitoring enabled. Microsoft Intune can support deployment, but only if it's required. Supported Windows devices already onboarded through Microsoft Defender for endpoints automatically appear in Purview, although device monitoring should be still enabled. Next is the Data Security Posture Management Classic, which Microsoft now has replaced with the newer Data Security Posture Management Experience that's not Classic. This brings together signals from DLP, data loss prevention, information protection, inside risk management, and data security investigations to show where sensitive data may be exposed, insufficiently protected, and recommends actions to reduce risk. Data security investigations take this from risk monitoring into incident response. For example, if sensitive files have been copied to a USB or emailed externally, a security team can search related Microsoft 365 content and endpoint DEL evidence, then use AI to understand what information may have been exposed. This reduces manual investigation and helps teams respond more quickly. Now we have the new Data Security Posture Management, which is quite big at the moment if you're in the industry. It starts with a security outcome, such as preventing oversharing, stopping exfiltration to risky locations, or protecting data used with AI. It brings together signals across Microsoft Purview to identify unprotected data, policy gaps, and risky behavior. It then can recommend controls such as sensitivity labels, DLP policies and guide, or automate remedies under an administrator's oversight. This is not about letting AI run your security environment. It's a better model. It's about detect, assess, recommend, approve, or automate the appropriate response or measure. Data governance provides the business context. Data owners should decide on who has access, what risks are acceptable, and what response to approve. The data stewards validates the sensitivity of the data and helps select the most correct controls. DSPM provides evidence and automation. Governance provides context and accountability. AI does not bypass existing permissions, but it can rapidly surface and summarize information that has already been overshared. Information protection classifies and protects sensitive content when using sensitivity labels. For example, a confidentiality label can apply encrypt and restrict who can open the document. DLP and other Microsoft solutions can recognize that label and apply further controls. Inside risk management helps to identify potential or risky behavior by people with internal access. For example, it may detect an unusual large download, copied files to a personal storage, or sensitive information being shared externally. A risk signal does not prove malicious intent. It could be a result by deliberate theft or an honest mistake or poor working practices, so the activity must be investigated in context. And finally, we have DSPM for AI Classic, which has been replaced by the newer tool. Although the Classic version still appears in some tenancies, its focus on protecting organizational data by Copilot, agents, and other AI applications. Those capabilities are now part of the wider DSPM approach. Data is used by a person, application, or AI agents. Still needs the appropriate classifications, security controls, monitoring, protection, and governance in place. Now that brings us to the end of the 10-minute learning from the Data SkyLab Studio. Thank you for watching. If you found this useful, please subscribe to the YouTube channel or follow the Data SkyLab Studio on LinkedIn and reshare this session where possible. Please do leave a comment and tell me which Microsoft Purview you'd like me to cover next, and hopefully we'll see each other all next week.